just need someone to explain something to me. I live in Alabama, and my utility bill usually averages between $200, $250 a month. Can someone please explain to me how my utility bill went from $250 a month to $696?
Alabama residents are going to see a $100 increase in their utility bill directly because of Donald Trump's policies. But the best part, the utility company is sending them letters letting them know it's Donald Trump's fault. Now, this is in Huntsville, Alabama, and Huntsville Utilities sent a letter to some of its customers letting them know this. You can pause if you need to, but they are going to receive a $100 increase because the grant that reduced their bill by $100 is being rescinded by Donald Trump. Yeah, they're letting them know this is Donald Trump's fault. We're not taking the hit for this. Now, Donald Trump promised people that he would cut utility bills in half in the first 12 months.
Under the Trump economic plan, we will cut your energy prices in half within, mark it down, and you can get very angry at me if we don't do it. Within 12 months, your energy prices will be cut in half.
And instead, these people in Huntsville, Alabama, a deep red state, are going to see an increase by $100. The worst part, these are the poorest among us. These are people that desperately need this, so they don't have to make a decision between lights or food. And Donald Trump is taking that away. The man who campaigned on lowering costs are making them go up, and now people know, beyond a shadow of doubt, it's his fault.
Trump, if you see this, please save us.
This is a result of what you voted for, honey. This is a thoughts and terrorists, tater tots and chairs kind of moment. I just want you to enjoy and soak that all in. Take it all in. This is what you voted for.
Oh, Alabama's about to find out. I know the entire state was overjoyed when they heard about the Medicaid and SNAP rollbacks. I guess they didn't realize that would include 800,000 of them. And I'm betting the farmers that also applauded this didn't realize how much food grocery stores bought to keep up with those 800,000 people. And what the tariffs and layoffs didn't do, this will finish off destroying the Alabama economy. Alabama already has one of the highest unemployment rates in the union. And now let's go ahead and take about 1 million people off of their SNAP benefits and Medicaid.
Alabama, the Republican Party does not care about you. They just announced a plan to cut Medicaid. The state of Alabama is set to lose up to $800 million in federal funds. And if you're not aware, we are right now experiencing a crisis when it comes to our rural hospitals. Over 80% of these hospitals are operating in the red. So if we see these Medicaid cuts go through, then we will potentially see some more hospital closures in our state. Republicans, the Republican Party, they own this. Republican leadership is not being honest with the state of Alabama, and they're not looking out for our best interests. Make sure that you get loud on this issue, y'all. And please, please, please do your best to spread the word. Thank you.
This is what happens when people vote out of hate and even racism. Because Alabama Maga voters, they cheered cuts to government programs like SNAP and Medicaid because they believe those cuts would only affect black and brown people. They were told black and brown people were feeding off the system, but majority of those beneficiaries are in red states. So let's have a look. Please like and hype the video, and I appreciate your support, all right? Let's get into it.
My brother was hit by a drunk driver in 1996, 10 o'clock in the morning. Because of that, he is in a nursing home, and Medicaid pays for that. Because my 70-year-old mother, who has had 6 back operations and lives off of disability, cannot afford private insurance. But what I've come to realize is that the people that support this big, beautiful bill that's going to cut, literally gut Medicaid, that so many people live off of for insurance to survive, literally stay alive, they don't care. They truly do not care about the people it's going to affect, because they have this idea, this very corrupt idea, that people that are on Medicaid are just a bunch of lazy American citizens who lay on their couch all day and won't work. when in reality it's people that can't work. And I don't understand how we got here to where people actually get joy out of inflicting this kind of pain upon people, upon families. And they're cutting these social programs with this bill so that they can pour billions of dollars to deport law-abiding Americans to these ICE concentration camps. And there are people hooting and hollering in celebration of that. I ask myself every day, what is wrong with people? I got a degree trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with people. And I have yet to draw a conclusion, because every day I am surprised by the level of disdain they have for other people. It is truly so heartbreaking.
Alabama, listen up. A new bill has been signed. No more candy, sodas, or junk food can be purchased using your SNAP benefits. Before I go any further, I need y'all to please watch this video. Share it with every Alabamian that you know. Share it with other states, because I think a lot of states has already passed this bill. But I don't want nobody in Alabama to go fill their buggy up with all type of snacks and carbs and junks and sweets and get to the register and can't pay for it. This bill says your SNAP benefits should be used for your health and for your nutrition, not for candy and junk foods. They're aiming to bring Alabamians back to good health. These snacks, drink sodas, they said that they cause Alabamians to be obese and to have diabetes, and they want to cut down on it. Are they controlling Alabamians with these SNAP benefits? Taxpayers pay their money. Should they be able to buy whatever they want to buy? Or are they really concerned about the health of Alabamians? I want to know your true thoughts. Do you agree with this? Do you think that it will help Americans lose weight and be more healthier and take away diabetes and high blood pressure, or at least cut the numbers, if they cannot purchase candy, junk food, and sodas with their SNAP benefits? I need y'all to drop in the comments and tell me, what do you think?
The maximum, this is the important part. The maximum allotments are being reduced. Remember the math here. Before, they were reducing it by 50%. Okay, so you would only get 50% of your food stamp check if you were eligible for 50%. And there's millions that are not getting a food stamp check at all because of the changes in the big beautiful bill, and then also the changes in how they're calculating it. So once again, the maximum allotments are being reduced, instead of 50%, by 35%. So you're going to be getting essentially 65% of a food stamp check instead of just 50%. So that the maximum allotments for November 2025 will be 65% of the typical maximum allotments. The maximum, this is the important part. The maximum allotments are being reduced. Remember the math here. Before, they were reducing it by 50%. Okay, so you would only get
752,000 Alabamians get SNAP benefits. 752,000. That's a lot of people. And you know how many people work on SNAP? 600 people in the state of Alabama have as their full-time job administering SNAP benefits. And do you know how many grocery stores are completely dependent on the SNAP, those 752,000 people spending their SNAP benefits at the it is hard to understate how important SNAP is to our economy. We can't explain it. It's an enormous investment in keeping people fed, right? So cutting it is insane. And the Trump's big bill will result in the state, having to pay a whole lot more for that program instead of the federal government paying for that program. And you can imagine what's going to happen, like potentially $300 million more that the state will have to pay. They're not going to want to pay that money. So the legislature possibly is going to cut further rather than have to pay $300 million extra dollars, because we don't have, that kind of extra money in the bank. But I want to back up even a step further than that and just say people on SNAP are hungry. They're having to choose between paying for medicine or paying for food, or paying for housing or paying for food, paying for their kids' school supplies or paying for food. Some of them just are choosing between death and having money for food. Like, what moral world do we live in where people who are working can't afford food for their children? And even if they're lazy bums who won't work, what world do we live in that we think their children should starve to death? When there's all of this abundance around us, we've all seen a grocery store, they are packed with food. There is no shortage of food. There is a shortage of compassion for people. And it didn't used to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this. We could structure our society in such a way that people can afford food. We could structure our society in such a way that people don't ever have to worry about their healthcare bills. Like, it just does not have to be this way. So as pissed as I am about this bill that cuts SNAP and what it's going to do to Alabama, I am just so much more pissed at us for not creating a better society.
I'm from Alabama. That means I live right smack dab in the middle of Trump country. He is so loved down here. And if you say that you don't like him, people genuinely think that you're stupid. Yeah. So with that being said, when all of this is said and done, okay, and he's gone, I will be able to say that I did not get bamboozled by a businessman from New York. Thank you.
These are anti-Trump billboards that have gone up in Calhoun County, Alabama, Jacksonville, Alabama, calling Trump a wannabe dictator and saying, hands off our Social Security, and saying Trump and Musk want to cut your Medicare to give tax breaks to billionaires. Are you okay with that? This is Alabama, everybody.
We're starting to hear from people who are on Medicaid who are losing access to certain services, be it long-term care, nursing homes, outpatient services, things like that are getting cut. And the GOP has consistently said that people will not be kicked off Medicaid. And that may be true. A lot of people won't be. It doesn't seem as though any Republican voters feel like they will not qualify with the work requirement. But just because you're not losing your Medicaid doesn't mean that you're not going to lose your access to health care. $900 billion has been cut. And states have to make up that difference. There's a lot of different ways they can make up that difference. Kicking people off is one of those ways. Another way is to cut certain services that Medicaid pays for. I live in Alabama, a state that has refused to expand Medicaid, so we were already at a disadvantage, and now we're going to get cut even more. Trust me when I say that Alabama cannot make up that difference. I'm going to read to you the email that I sent one of my state senators, Katie Britt, not Tommy Tuberville. Katie Britt's been pretty reasonable on some of these issues, so I thought maybe she would listen. I thought I might get an actual response. That wasn't the case. I posted this on Facebook before the bill passed. I consider myself an independent voter, but I was raised in an extremely conservative community, and the Republican Party has been very good to my family. My brother was a congressional page for Spencer Backus. Congressman Backus wrote my brother's recommendation letter for the Merchant Marine Academy. I've been a CRNA in Alabama for 18 years. The Medicaid cuts that are being proposed are going to wreck our hospitals. Alabama cannot afford to bridge an even larger gap than we already have, not even close. Roughly 1 in 4 Alabamians rely on Medicaid, and nearly 1 in 10 have no health insurance at all. That's already one of the highest uninsured rates in the country. Without Medicaid support, like outpatient services, even more patients will be left with nowhere to go but the emergency room. EMTALA is a federal law that requires us to provide emergency services to all human beings, regardless of where they came from or their ability to pay for it. Our oath as providers and our state's aggressive commitment to Christian values require the same. We do not and cannot turn away life-threatening emergencies or laboring patients. The proposed cuts will force us to provide even more of that care for free. Our hospitals cannot absorb that level of uncompensated care without collapsing. Poor Medicaid reimbursement rates combined with cuts to essential outpatient services and a potential loss of coverage for thousands will devastate Alabama's rural healthcare infrastructure. Many rural hospitals are already on the brink. Additional pressure from unfunded mandates will push them over the edge, and once they close, they rarely reopen. Your constituents need you to push back on this. If rural hospitals close, it won't just affect Medicaid patients. It will affect all of us. Most of your voters do not live near a major hospital. This will affect a massive portion of your base. We don't have much time. I look forward to a reply. Thank you. Here's her reply. You can pause to read it. You may have to screenshot it and zoom in if you have eyes like me. But it basically has nothing to do with anything that I said. She talks about Trump's tax cuts. Why would you talk about that? That you're cutting health care to fund that. So no thank you. And then she talks about the border. Like, we're not a border state. What the hell? And then more nonsense. I think this is just a auto reply for any question or concern that comes into her email. I hope I'm wrong, Katie Britt. I honestly hope I'm wrong. Time will tell.
So y'all just gonna let kids starve in Alabama? Did I hear that right? Women and children in Alabama may not eat because the state is about to run out of food assistance funding. This is what I don't understand. Government always has money for wars, for tax cuts, for some billionaire's pet project. But when it comes to feeding family, suddenly the wallet kind of just snaps shut. We're talking about women and children and babies. People who actually need food to live. And Alabama is basically saying, good luck, I hope you're not hungry. And it's not just irresponsible, it's cruel. And all of this goes back to Republican Congress, right? Because they're not showing up to do their jobs. So by proxy, women and children are going to suffer and starve. Don't forget, these same politicians swear up and down they're for the people, they're pro-people and pro-family, pro-baby. That only counts when they're talking about people. You know, the people that are corporations, those people. Because when it's time to feed actual families, the compassion dries up real quick. Government is supposed to work for the people. But right now, it looks like the people are just working to survive while government plays favorites with billionaires. And if you're not mad about it, you should be. Because today it's Alabama. Tomorrow it could be your state.
Alabama, we deserve better. We deserve a statewide healthcare system that is for everybody. I'd like to see a more forward-thinking approach to our education system. We always place almost dead last in education, healthcare, pretty much everything.
For years, many Maga voters in rural America were convinced that immigrants, minorities, people who receive government programs, or even people who look different from them were the threat to their problems, you know. They were convinced to believe that they were the reason why their wages were stagnant, you know, why their hospitals were closing, why their schools were struggling, and why their community was declining. But the reality is that blaming immigrants or even minorities does not lower your grocery prices. You should focus on making leaders accountable who come and promise big things, but they don't deliver, you know. Because majority of these voters, they are focused on causing pain to others, but they don't stop to ask, how are these policies going to improve wages, healthcare, create jobs, or even lower the cost of living, you know? They are focused on whom they think is going to lose. But politics is not about making someone else lose. Politics is about making your life better, you know? Because when Medicaid gets cut, the entire community suffers, you know? Your parents, seniors, veterans, children, you know? When SNAP benefits are cut, families skip meals so that they can be able to feed their children. People only take 1 meal per day. When the hospitals lose funding, it is your community that is going to suffer. So every election matters a lot, and every vote is very important. The policy you support show up in your grocery store, you know, in the pharmacies, in the utility bills, and many more. So you should look beyond fear, anger, and racism, and focus on practical solutions that help ordinary families, you know. The biggest lesson for all of this is that when you choose leaders based on whom you hate, you end up hurting yourself. But when you focus on accountability and results, you have a higher chance of creating a better future for everybody. So thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.